Hi, another episode of Mr. Marty. Well, I'm at a Starbucks, a different Starbucks in Mesa, one on Val Vista and Southern. My boss is probably making fun of me because I go into all these details and stuff on my videos, but I wanted to just do a quick video because I was thinking about it. I was in here in Starbucks, and it just kind of hit me, like a ton of bricks, and so I thought I'll come on and make a video and talk about this. But it's interesting. Starbucks specifically, takes a lot of hits in the media and social networking sites because too corporate, and they've driven out mom and pop coffee shops and things of this nature and whatnot. But you could say this about Starbucks or any coffee shop, but I've just kind of noticed this. We live in this world in which people are increasingly insular. They they rarely venture outside, unless they're working. They rarely venture outside their homes. They shop online. They interact with people online. Some of the people are real. Some of them are, virtual people or whatnot. And a lot of sociologists have written about this extensively. Probably one of the famous books was Bowling Alone. Came out a few years back, and I can't remember the author's name, but which he laments the decline of what he calls social spaces. And I was sitting here in Starbucks this morning, 6 a.m., quarter after 6, and I started thinking about that, and I thought, there is hope. I mean, when you go into a Starbucks, easily people could just get their coffee and leave, like myself. But instead, like myself, we choose to sit down and get our computers out or whatever, and a book, our Kindles, and and we might be engaged in some type of a task, whether it's working on a work project or just surfing the internet for fun or whatnot. We're doing this in a social space. We're doing this, around other human beings, because I think we feel this need to connect to other human beings. And so, when I hear this kind of lamenting, and people who point out the decline of social spaces, they do have a point. They do have a point. There is no more public square, to a certain extent. There's a lot of reasons for that. I won't really go into it. But I guess, the Starbucks and then other coffee shops have actually evolved to become a public square, even though in fact they're not. It's a highly controlled corporate, private property. Even if you go to another coffee shop like Inside the Bungalow, which the only reason I'm not at Inside the Bungalow, my favorite coffee shop in Mesa, privately owned, really unique, was because Mike and Betty weren't going to open until 8 a.m. this morning, and it's 6, and I'm up at 4, and I wanted to go do stuff. And so I don't know. I just think that there's hope. And again, going back to my videos where I try to look at the positive, and I think this is one of those positive things. I think when you go to a Starbucks, or you go into Mike and Betty's coffee shop, or any number of eclectic little shops, like when I was in Portland last year, just amazing. And Salt Lake has a lot. I'm moving to Salt Lake next week, and Salt Lake has quite a few. And there's something about that, and so when people, start talking about this, that's kind of my counter, is the fact that, there are, and granted, you can lament the fact that, no, it's not the town square, and there's not I think what is in Hyde Park in London, there's a soapbox. It's a little box or something, and people, I can't remember what it's called, but it's right in Hyde Park in the heart of London, and people get up on that and they just expound on a wide variety of issues. You can just Google it and see some interesting discussions and some interesting characters. And so all is not lost. Human beings still need each other. And so although technology has made it somewhat easier to be a recluse, to lead a more insular existence, although that is certainly true, and I'm guilty of it. I mean, just the fact that it's much easier to sit at home with a few clicks and you purchase a piece of clothing or a pair of shoes, as opposed to driving over to the mall or something and doing it. I mean, there's no question that technology benefits us, and there's no question that it's easier to do that. But again, there's hope. There is hope. People do need each other, and we still congregate to places like Starbucks. We could easily all just come in here, grab a muffin, grab a cup of coffee, and leave. And yet, I've noticed over the years that many people who go to coffee shops, again, Mike and Betty's coffee shop, or the inside the bungalow, or whether it's Starbucks, I mean, people tend to linger. They tend to linger and leisurely sip their coffee, and they enjoy being around other people, and I think that's hopeful. I think that's a very good sign in the face of people leading a more insular existence. So that's just my little video today, my little take on the concept of bowling alone, is that author, I can't remember his name, made famous in his book. So there is hope. Social spaces are declining. People are leading a more insular existence than they did, say, 40, 50 years ago. Hence the decline of bowling alleys, which he talks about in his book. But there's hope. There's hope. And I think Starbucks and other coffee shops where people gather and congregate, I think that is hope. So just another video, Mr. Marty, looking on the positive side. And yes, we are more insular, but we are social creatures, and we do need each other. And remember that we do need each other. There's no question. The old phrase, "No man stands alone," is very apt. So, anyways, just another video of Mr. Marty telling you go out and have an awesome day, and go to a coffee shop, hang out with some people, and do whatever. So, take care.